Time for a Chevrolet Sportsnet Central update. The Patriots reportedly interviewed Cardinals associate head coach and wide receivers coach Sean Jefferson today. Albert Breer reporting the interview was held via video conference, just like the previous four. And the Patriots' search for an OC is where we begin today's deep dive with Marc Bertrand and Ted Johnson. First, guys, I'll tell you what I'm hearing as it concerns the Patriots' offensive coordinator job. I've spoken to two high-ranking members of the organization in the last 24 hours. They tell me the obvious choice is Bill O'Brien. The expectation inside the building is that if they can land Bill O'Brien, they will land Bill O'Brien. I also will tell you that people around the league are looking at the bevy of candidates that have come in. These are people from other teams now telling me it looks as though, given the candidates that have teleconferenced with Bill Belichick or video conference with Bill Belichick, that this is essentially setting up for Bill O'Brien to get the job, because even though the candidates are impressive in their own right, there is still one obvious choice. So I ask you guys, if it is Bill O'Brien, are you happy with that? And are you happy with the search? Because we didn't see guys like Adam Gase or Chad O'Shea, who's going to interview for the Jets offensive coordinator position, guys who have had that title, the offensive coordinator title before, unlike the four candidates not named Bill O'Brien in the Patriots search. Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with it because I feel like this was going to be the best candidate. And if they know that and they went into it with the mindset that they wanted to get Bill O'Brien hired, well, then I don't have a huge issue with it. And I also don't think that there was going to be anything that Chad O'Shea would say in an interview that the Patriots don't already know.
Or Adam Gase.
That would make any of those guys a better candidate than Bill O'Brien. There's nothing that I think could be said in that process that would change their mind about who it is that they would bring in. Maybe if you're considering positions under Bill O'Brien, it could be helpful, but I don't think that it was going to sway, the hiring itself.
I think maybe the bar's so low, Phil, that I'm thrilled with kind of if the outcome is Bill O'Brien, I'm thrilled with it because at least there was a search. At least there was, I don't know, some checks and balances about the whole process. So even though it might look like, quote unquote, a sham, at the end of the day, I still think if you come away with it and get Bill O'Brien, then I don't really want to get too caught up in kind of how they got to that point. And so Bill O'Brien, if he doesn't come here, though, based on the candidates we've seen, I mean, that's one thing you go, okay, it's going to be a really bad look. So it can go one of two ways there.
And then where do you go from there? To me, Nick Caley would make a lot of sense to keep around, which would in some ways be mind-blowing because he wasn't given the opportunity to run the offense last year. But now, again, this is from people around the league who are just assessing the candidates. They would tell you Nick Caley looks like the next best choice if Bill O'Brien, say, gets a head coaching interview with the Cardinals and Monty Austin in Arizona and says, I'd love to go do that and run my own show. Then you might end up with somebody who has been here for 8 years, Beetle, and now he's running the offense when he probably could have done it last year, and the results would have been a little bit different, I would think.
Yeah, so I know that Bill O'Brien's contract wasn't up at Alabama a year ago, as it is up now. But if the Patriots really wanted to make a play last year, they could have at least explored Bill O'Brien. They didn't even do that a year ago. So I sort of file these all into the same thing. No matter what they do, whether it's Bill O'Brien or it's Nick Caley or it's any other qualified offensive coordinator that has coached at this level, we could ask that same question. Why didn't you do this a year ago? Even if it is Chad O'Shea, even if it's anybody else, why didn't you do it a year ago?
But I feel like if it's Nick Caley specifically,
it makes it worse.
The optics would be so bad. Phil, I can't imagine because he was in-house and you had a chance to get him last year. Wait a minute, and he wanted to leave your staff reportedly to go coach with Josh McDaniels. If you sign him, I mean, it would. I'm just telling you, I don't think they would because it just looks really bad on Bill, and Bill's not about that.
Well, the fact is they wasted a year.
Yeah.
No matter how you break this down, they wasted a year. That's the known thing here. And so no matter which direction they go, it's not going to change how this year went.
And if I'm Nick Caley, quickly, I would be very, very cautious before signing up to be OC here, just because I wouldn't trust that I had much power.
What I've been told when I've asked these same questions, why not last year, the answer you get back from people in and around the building is two words: Matt Patricia. And maybe a third word: trust. Bill Belichick has so much love and trust for Matt Patricia that he was available. He wanted to get back onto the sideline. He wanted to do more coaching. And Bill Belichick was more than willing to put him in the role that he ended up in. And there was nothing probably that Nick Caley could have done in order to sort of supersede that. but I spoke to somebody who knows both Caley and Bill Belichick well yesterday. Told me, hey, you never know. After a 5 or 10-hour interview, I don't know how long Caley's lasted, but that's how long some of these things can go. That's how long they can go, right? That even Bill Belichick, Nick Caley's boss for the last 8 years, would learn things about Nick Caley that maybe he didn't know before, because you're just not having those sort of high-level, philosophical, offensive, where's the game going kinds of conversations. It's always about the next game, the next opponent, the free agent at the position that you might want to sign, the draft pick that you might want to take. So those kinds of conversations would be new conversations for Caley and Belichick to have, and maybe Belichick finds something out about this guy that has been under his roof for a while.
I just hope that Caley was able to get in the building. Right? I mean, he's local. He could have his here, right? But is that report indicating that his was by video conference as well?
That's what Bert reported.
That's rough. That is rough. All those hours on Zoom together.